Good evening, everybody. It is 7 o'clock. Welcome to our regularly scheduled commission meeting today. If you would, before we kick off, let's join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All righty. First item this evening is a consent agenda.
I move we approve the consent agenda.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Same sign. For the record, Commissioner Watson is unavailable this evening due to illness. First item on our regular agenda is to consider a request for proposals for solar panel installation at Sand Creek Station. Good. You guys going to tag team it?
Yeah. Well, I'm just going to give color commentary.
No, and I just wanted to open first and foremost by saying thanks for allowing me to be here. Just wanted to show the golf course support. Obviously, with it being the property that I do manage, was involved with the initial pro formas in some of these numbers. So I wanted to come to show support in whatever decision you all may make regarding the request for proposals for the solar panel installation at Sand Creek Station, if it makes financial sense, as well as answer any questions regarding operations, anything to do with the golf course, day-to-day operations, and anything else related to the golf course, but more or less to show support. Kemper Sports, Sand Creek Station, and you guys have been a great partnership, and so that's why I wanted to be here tonight, and also for Zach.
Thank you. No, we just we had some pro formas given to us earlier this year on several sites, and the golf course looks to be the path of least resistance to try this out. So with your permission, with this RFP, we could solicit for bids and get some feedback, get some new updated numbers. They were making assumptions earlier this year, so I'd like to see some updated numbers and how that works with the cutoff of the rebates at the end of the year. So leave it to any questions you may have.
I was trying to figure out, it's 180 days after a bid. Is that, after we award the bid?
After we would award the bid, yes.
Okay. Contract. Okay. I'm sorry.
Oh, no.
I assume whoever the companies are would have to prove to you and to us that this is going to be a financially viable solution to save money.
Absolutely.
And that would actually be our finance director and the rest of our staff taking these responses, formulating them into a plan so we can make that decision.
Exactly.
So,
Yes.
So I just have another question. On the evaluation criteria,
Yes.
so obviously I must just not understand, because I was concerned about company profile and experience 25%, technical design equipment 25%, financial proposal 25%, implementation plan project management 15%, and references and past performance 10%. So are you thinking maybe some of references and past performance might be tied up in the company profile and experience?
Absolutely. There's going to be companies with all sorts of longevity in this industry. So you have some that are just newly forming, and you'll have some with 15, 20 years experience, and they'll have the repertoire in their experience.
Okay, so that kind of duplicates itself, but yet maybe not, depending on...
It just depends, because there's some companies coming in that it's an offset probably of they have a really big name, let's just go with that, and they're going to bank on, they've been in business in this industry for so long that they're, this new industry that or new sector, I should say, they're tackling. They're just going to, put that on their cap that they've been in business this long, but that's not necessarily how long they've been in business in the solar industry.
Okay.
And what is their criteria for saying that the golf course is the pathway of least resistance, or the the facility that makes the most sense? What do they base that on?
Well, that's what we based it off of, is staff decision. You know, with City Hall, for instance, we have to look at the roof conditions. There's several variables at play, where golf course, we're just looking at real estate, available real estate to put possibly a solar array that won't impose on our rooftops or have to get under any other engineering involved on that. So,
Makes
So we're
sense.
talking ground-based photovoltaic.
yes.
Okay.
Well, makes sense to me.
I mean,
Me too.
you don't know what you get until you ask.
That's right.
Absolutely.
I would move that we give permission for you to go out with an RFP.
I second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
Thank you.
Make it happen.
You.
All right, this evening, next item is to receive an update on environmental code enforcement. Mr. Bonham.
I think Rebecca's going to help me tackle this. The first slide I'm going to give to her.
Thank you. I apologize. I have been in and out with my voice today. The first thing we wanted to go over in this quick year in review was the alignment we had with the strategic plan. As you all remember, that in 2025, going into 26, we have a 2-year strategic plan, and staff is continually looking toward that as our guiding light to make sure that the efforts that we're putting together fit. So the points in the strategic plan that really align with this environmental control fall under the point of create a welcoming place to call home, creating safe, attractive spaces, prioritizing beautification, enhancing the aesthetics of the downtown built environment, and increase efficiency and effectiveness of environmental control efforts.
Can I pause you for a second?
Sure.
All my stuff shows that we're on environmental,
Yes.
not strategic.
Yes.
That's down below somewhere.
Strategic is item 9, environmental.
Correct. So I'm just letting you know how our environmental code efforts align with our strategic plan. Sorry. And what I was going to mention is those 2 pieces that we're going to be looking at during the rest of our presentation are going to be looking at that efficiency and effectiveness of environmental control efforts. So again, you're right, this is an overarching scoping slide, but just wanted to let you know that we are continually referring to it in all of our efforts. So sorry for any confusion. Here's a quick list of what we're doing now, and Ed can tell you how we're working through that.
Sure. So the environmental control, these are some highlights of the items that we currently do, from neighborhood weatherization programs, budgeting for demolitions, sidewalk repairs, landfill coupons, roll-off dumpsters, pride programs, the bulky item pickup, and so on. So several things that are in place currently that we do utilize to help with code enforcement. And then what happens when a violation comes in? So complaints show up City Hall, and somebody could hand deliver it. It may come across the website. It may come through on the app. We get a lot on the app, which it's very convenient, easy to do, so it's utilized quite a bit. So once they get that complaint, the environmental control officer will go out and check the issue. If the control officer determines that there is an issue, he will then he'll conduct an inspection of an entire block radius. And then he will issue violations to any building or property owner in that block radius, regardless of the violation. So he may got called out on a dead tree. He goes out and he looks at the dead tree, says, yep, it's a dead tree, so now I'm going to make my rounds. And then he'll go around that block and he'll pick out any code violation that may be occurring at another property, and they will all be issued notification on it. Once he sends notification, they have a certain amount of time to remedy the problem. If they don't remedy that problem, then a second notice will be sent. After the second notice goes out, again, they have a little more time to to fix the problem. If they don't fix that, then it will either be abated. Should it be a weed violation, we would go out and mow it, or the violation would be sent to court. And it goes through the process of the court. So quick summary of complaints that we've had from 23 to 25. This is a little bit difficult information to kind of obtain. 24 and 25 are very similar. We switched over to the new iWork software in 24. So I see consistency through our software, the way we use the software and how we're applying it. 23 did not have the software. And so when I went back and tried to gather numbers, tried to figure stuff out, we just didn't do a very good job of documenting numbers and knowing what true numbers were. So I know these aren't ideal. I would like to see better numbers, but this is what I have currently. And I can get more information if you desire. Just will take me a little bit to find it. So mowing, this is kind of a high priority one that we get a lot of complaints about, and we send out staff to look at. So if you get a violation for mowing, your first offense, you get it mowed, move on. You get a second offense, and you don't take care of it, we will just automatically go out and mow it. And then we send a bill to the customer, and if they don't pay that, then it gets assessed to the property through the county. And currently our charge for mowing abatement is $101 an hour with a minimum of 1 hour.
Does our software allow us to see the time from when it was first reported to when the notice went out, it wasn't taken care of, to when we dispatched the crew to get it mowed, and then it actually got mowed? Because I do know that our park crews get diverted to handling our own stuff before they handle abatement on other things.
Right.
So
The software won't tell that exactly, but I can gather that information just based on the time the letters went out. We document kind of that, when it was the first notice, and then when it was the certified notice, and kind of how that works through. So I could come up with some
I'd like to
information
see
on
that.
that. One of those, that's a good point to make, and one of the things that I've been working with the park department on is, rather than, I mean, obviously, when on our mowing route and we're on the north end of town and we have an abatement that's on the south end of town, it doesn't make good sense to pull a crew off and a mower to go take care of abatement. So what we've been trying to do towards the end of the season was we picked a day every week that's where our focus was. Instead of the mowing route, we would just go out and we would send crews out to abate all the way through whatever notices we had. So trying to help that a little bit. Still open to suggestions, and we are feeling our way out on better efficiency for that piece of it.
what about using an abatement crew, a contractor?
We'll get to that here, but that is one of the suggestions to consider. So vehicle parking, again, this one kind of rose to the top too, as one that's pretty high priority, and we do get a lot of complaints for that. We're working with Chief Dunleavy and his team to help us with the on-street parking, and then we're also focusing, again, not that we didn't focus, but we're just making sure our efforts are staying up on the off-street parking, like parking on the grass or disabled vehicles, things of that. It is a current violation, and it goes through the same process. So if they get a notice, they don't move the vehicle, they'll get a second notice, still don't move the vehicle, it goes to court, and it moves through the system. So looking ahead, as we talk about environmental control and how we want this to look, priorities to take into consideration is commission and community, through the comprehensive planning process, and then, direct feedback to city commissioners. What us as staff do is how you guys direct us, and so that's where we'll proceed. So that poses the question for each of you to think about. and you can answer now or you can think about it and answer me later. What kind of processes would you like to see different? Would you like to look at fees a little bit different? How would you like the communication to go with regard to notices and the people putting in complaints? And then, what's the most important items that you would like to be addressed?
Before I could answer processes, I'd like to see like that timeline,
Okay.
what's it look like from when the complaint came in to when code was able to actually get out there and verify it and
Certainly.
and write it up to when that clock started. So I'd need to see all of that to understand
Sure.
process improvement and
Okay.
because it's going to take resources on one end or another.
Yep.
One resource is increased fees to offset the abatement, or
Certainly.
another resource is staff time.
So staff priorities or proposals that staff would like to put forth for you to consider is looking at another staff member, another code enforcement officer, 26, 27, for two reasons: continuity of operations, and then looking forward to how we want to handle things, if we want to be a little more proactive versus reactive. Consider the fees for abatement. Do we charge actual cost, or do we stay with kind of the plan we've been doing? And then consider utilizing a service to contract for abatements, similar to how we do kind of the tree program in the spring when we hire a contractor to come in and do the tree trimming, which does tie into this really well, because before then, that violation has gone down substantially from trees by having someone come in and do some of the right-of-ways on the trees.
Do you know if the actual cost versus what you're charging, $101 per hour now, is there a difference there?
Yeah, so what we would look at, actual cost, is I can break down what piece of equipment I use, depreciation, fuel, all the stuff that goes into just maintaining that piece of equipment as an actual cost, and then you can put the labor into that. We look at stuff like even the maintenance that we do on sharpening the blades. Like, there's the time associated with that and a cost that we can assign to that versus kind of an arbitrary $101. I'm really not sure. Chris and I kind of looked into that too, where that $101 come from. And Hondu's been with us for 30-plus years, and he said it's always been $101.
Yeah, that would be my concern is what our true cost
Yeah.
is, and we shouldn't run it at a loss. I mean, our citizens ask us to be fiscally responsible, but we also, it's not going to be a moneymaker either. It
Well,
just needs
I
to
wouldn't
break
look,
even.
I think it needs to be a deterrent. I mean, if that's what we're going
Yeah.
to do, to consider it as a deterrent, again, not trying to make a ton of money, but understand $100 to some. Nowadays, when I mowed grass as a young kid, $5 was pretty good, but lawn services today charge.
Well, it's definitely high time to get accurate numbers. We need to know what the accurate overhead number is, and then we can make a decision on what makes
Okay.
sense.
So you're talking about an additional staff member for succession planning, but then that means after the current officer leaves, then
Just-
you're still back to one, or are you?
That's one piece of it for succession planning too, so that Jerry can train
Yes,
the new person. But I think moving forward, if we want to take a more proactive approach versus a reactive approach, it will take two people.
I agree. I've been wanting to see two people for a long time. I know that's not, so I would agree with that. In addition to contracting to abate.
Okay.
I think that sounds reasonable for a community this size.
That's some homework.
Yep, okay,
Thank you.
you bet.
Thank you, Ed.
All right. You guys done with that topic? Awesome.
Yes.
Next item this evening is to consider a lease agreement with Newton Rec Center, NRC, for the Newton Rec Center.
And I can lead on this. Ed can jump in with any details. As you all are aware, the city owns the Newton Rec Center. We have a longstanding relationship whereby we lease it to the NRC. It's a $1 per year lease. Both parties have opt-outs of the agreement. It's a good partnership. They run it. And this is essentially a continuation of the 2014 lease, which just recently expired. I will note, and I think we put it in the memo, that we are working with the NRC in a more holistic agreement that talks about a lot of the details with operating the many parks and facilities that we're partners with. But this lease is pretty straightforward. It's in your packet. I don't know if Ed has anything to add, but he could add any questions. No real concern from the staff side on this one. Would be a simple motion to approve the lease unless you have any questions.
I move that we approve this lease agreement with the NRC.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Same sign. Motion carries. Thank you, Chris. All right, next item this evening is to consider approval of a historic preservation fund agreement. Rebecca?
Yes, thank you very much. Staff was notified at the beginning of October that there was some additional last-minute funding available to certified local governments, of which Newton is one, to receive historic preservation funds. The caveat was that they had to be completely utilized by the end of September of 2026. So we dusted off a project that had been on the wish list, which was to create a custom playing card deck that would be utilize our local artists to help highlight some of our core historic places, whether they may exist now or may have been lost to history, but this will help kind of bring those back. We modeled the program off of Tacoma, Washington's, which I have an image of on the screen for you. It's a really nice piece. These will not be sold. They'll be used as kind of a interesting swag piece that we can utilize with our partners to help promote the city. This is a matching grant. The 40% match requirement would be a portion of staff time and then CVB printing funds, which we would utilize for this type of thing anyway, but this helps us get it off the ground. I'd stand for any questions.
It's a super cool concept. Went out and looked at the Tacoma project and everything. It was really cool. Brought back memories being stationed up there too. So that's kind of cool.
Do you know the approximate size of each one of those?
The playing cards are a full playing card deck.
Okay.
Yeah. Our plan would be to utilize one of the largest playing card companies that they do custom decks. We've already got some good partnerships with the Carriage Factory to help us run the art side of the process.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah. I was looking in here, I remember reading, are you going to have like 2,500? Is that what I read?
Yes.
2,500?
That's
decks?
That's one of the smallest runs you can get at a large playing card company print off. So it is the largest manufacturer of casino level cards in the country.
Okay.
Okay. Well, any more discussion?
I would move we approve the Historic Preservation Fund grant agreement.
I will second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Same sign. Motion carries. All right. Next item this evening is to consider an agreement between KDOT, PEC, and the City for Sand Creek Bike Path Extension Project.
Thank you, Commissioners. So brief history, you're all aware in December of '24, KDOT approached us about an opportunity for a grant. You gave us permission to kind of move forward with that. In March of '25, we sent out requests for qualifications to select a consultant. We chose PEC as our consultant based on the criteria in the RFQ. And then this is kind of that last push to get us over the hump here to allow PEC to begin the design process. So all the parties have reviewed the agreement, and they've had their KDOT's done their checks and rechecks against what PEC submitted as an RFQ. They brought in a third-party engineer. So all I'm asking tonight is to approve and sign the three-party agreement for this project to keep moving forward.
Awesome. It's pretty cool. It finally come to fruition. It's a lot of work getting there. Commissioners? I'd call for,
I move that we approve this three-party grant agreement.
we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Same sign. Motion carries. Man, you're just getting a workout tonight, aren't you?
My voice is going to sound like Rebecca.
Next item is to review amendments to Chapter 18 of the Code of the City regarding sanitation. Ed?
Yeah, again, thank you, Commissioners. This is really kind of just a first read for you. There's a red line here. Some of the highlights in the ordinance, we reviewed the ordinance, and Chris can certainly add to here. He helped me with this quite a bit. But some of the highlights that we saw as we read through, there was some things in there that hadn't ever been used in 30-plus years. And so we talked through it and said maybe we need to strike through that. Probably the biggest thing that would be related to finances would be the request to add additional $10 for bulky item if it involves picking up limbs and brush. So currently the way it works is you can call in up to 5 items and the limbs and brush would count as one item, whether it's the size of this table or one small limb that's sitting out there. And that works okay, but what happens is our driver has to make 2 trips. So even though they pick up the other 4 items, because they go out to the transfer station, then they have to come back after all those have been picked up and pick up that limb or limbs and take it to a different location on the hill. And so what we're proposing is that we would still accept on that day, if you called in, you could call in 5 items and a limb, we would still accept that on the same day, but you'd get charged $20 versus $10, because you'd get $10 on your 5 items and then $10 on the limbs. So that's kind of the biggest financial.
Yeah, it only applies when you have that combination of
Yeah.
limbs and stuff. If you
So
have just
limbs
one or
is
the
just
other,
10.
nothing different.
Limbs and other things is 20.
Yeah, if it's limbs and other things, it's $20. If it's just limbs, $10. It's 5 items,
Okay.
so,
Two separate trucks.
Right.
right.
Okay. Okay.
Still
That's
cheap.
I'd rather your truck get stuck than mine.
But certainly would give you guys some time to look through that.
Yeah.
Provide me some feedback, and then we can bring it at a next meeting to a pass, if that's your pleasure.
This is going to sound awful probably, but is there a way that you can, because when I was going through this, I like to go back to your memo part where you kind of have the summary and the sections, and then I go down into the sections. Is there a way that you could send that document through email so I could open it up on the computer?
Yeah, we can do that.
Would you be willing to do that?
Of course.
I know you don't have anything else to do.
That's easy. No
Okay.
problem.
I appreciate it. It would be easy to be able to go through that and not have to flip up and down. So I would appreciate it.
You
very
got it.
much. Thank you.
Cool. Thank you, sir. Anything else?
Thank you.
All right, next item this evening is third quarter strategic plan update.
All righty, well, I'll take this for our city manager, who's out at some continuing education training. We've had a lot of really great things happen in our third quarter of our strategic plan. So I'm going to go over those really quickly. In your attachment, in your packet, I went ahead and started writing down things we were doing in Q4 because October's already Q4 and we didn't want to forget. So if you see them in there, we'll probably hit those up the next time. We've implemented our compensation plan. We've begun the kickoff of succession plans for key staff members. Danielle has been working very hard at that. We've had the first citywide PCM training with our in-house PCM certified training staff. We've worked on a new employee onboarding process. Under our efforts to maintain and improve our public infrastructure, we've begun the updates to our citywide CIP. We've obtained the FAA grant to reconstruct runway 826. You'll be seeing more on the SS4A planning process a little bit later, but that's also working on. You've all adopted the IBC, IEBC, and IMC updates. Under increased transparency and engagement to improve trust, we've had the beginnings of the comprehensive plan survey that went out to multiple households, and they followed up with an electronic survey that was similar to the open house. So we've had a couple of really great feedback opportunities. We've continued with the commercials, including commercials in Spanish that go on streaming platforms. We have developed an internal team reviewing the needs and options to streamline and implement online pay options for city services. We know that that's a priority, and we're working hard to move that along. The new city website has gone live, and so has our new software for our cemeteries, SemSite. The City Outreach and Engagement Program has gone to multiple events through City Desk, done a lot of partnerships with certain areas, and also has implemented Fresh Air Fridays. In part of our internal pieces, we've continued our leadership book club that's open to all employees, taken a Voice of the Employee survey, and created a Voice of the Employee survey action plan after that to continue to meet our employees' needs and desires and to ensure that they're being heard. Under creating a welcoming place to call home, we have some really great subpoints, and one of those is prioritizing those quality of life amenities that continue to rise to the top when we hear back from our residents. We've created some internal planning to create a park plan, and we've been working on this comprehensive planning process to really set our priorities. In the beautification piece, you'll notice the 36th Street Bridge looking very fine. As we continue to invest in downtown, we're very excited for the scheduled demolition of 320 North Main. I know that's been put off a couple weeks due to the contractor's schedule, but that's a good step in the right direction for us. Our marketing efforts are continued with also partnering with the Newton Public Schools on our advertisements. If you haven't seen these, whether they're in English or in Spanish, they're also available on our YouTube landing page so that you can continue to share them and see them even if you're not always watching television when they're airing. We've also been continuing to work to plan and grow for our future through those sustainable fiscal plans and policies, including the hotel development incentive policy, which you all approved, and we maintained our AA- bond rating in the last bond sale. Under the multiple plans that we have to update, we've been, again, working through that comprehensive planning process. The housing study draft was completed through that with Olson, and we're working on the water and sewer master plan. As we continue to leverage our partnerships towards building better community growth, we're working with the Railer Foundation on a CDBG grant. We continue to see more housing developers and new housing starts. We had 15 single-family homes and 22 duplexes started through the third quarter. And those are the biggest updates that I have right now, but you'll see more items continuing to come. If there's any questions, I'm more than happy to answer while I still have breath.
I just want to say thank you, and I think it's great that you guys get to champion the successes and the accomplishments that are happening. All too often people focus on the negative, and there's a lot of great things happening, and I'm just glad that we're reporting it more frequently through these quarterly reports. So, good job.
We're going to get tired of winning.
No, we're not. No, we're not. Anything else, Commissioner? Thank you, Rebecca. Next item is an airport lease with Shield AI.
Good evening, Commissioners. I'm sorry to hear that you're tired of winning because we're going to win again. I'm bringing to you a lease agreement for two pieces tonight. One is on the south portion of Hangar J, which is a 10,000 square foot hangar space and 6,000 square feet of office space, as depicted here on that first slide. We're also a lease on 3 acres of land on the east side of the airport. Both of these lease agreements are at fair market value, which the FAA loves. So keeps us in the good graces of the FAA. For the most part, it's a standard lease. It's with a very dynamic company new to the Newton area, with Shield AI, and Jacob Miller's here to represent them this evening if you have questions for them. I hope you do, because you're going to want to hear about this company. It's a very dynamic company. Hopefully all of you saw the video that was sent out. It's great opportunity for us, for the city, for the region. And so we should be very proud that they're coming, that they chose us to come to Newton. The other piece that you'll have is just a brokerage agreement between the city, the county, and Hughes Marino, which is a brokerage firm that essentially worked on behalf of Shield AI to negotiate this lease agreement. And so we believe that the sum of dollars that'll come out of that will be split between the city and the county. I've already presented this to the county earlier today, and they agreed with that. So we'll move on with that. It's a standard brokerage agreement that we've done in the past. So I would stand for any questions specifically to the lease agreement. I know Chris is available. We appreciate the patience on this with the commission. We worked fast and furious over the last 4 to 5 days to get this done, to get this on the. We weren't never sure it was going to be on the agenda until it was, and so we appreciate your patience with us and making sure Chris was doing his due diligence, of course, to make sure that the city was protected in every way possible. And of course, I want a big shout out to Beth from Economic Development Commission for her work. I knew once I was in the deep end of the pool that I needed to enlist experts, and so we brought Beth in on this to help us get this over the finish line. So again, I would stand for any questions if there are any for me specifically, and of course Jacob Miller with Shield AI.
Could you, for the sake of our public, just in general terms, describe what you're going to be doing out there?
Absolutely. And first off, let me say thank you to the city of Newton. I grew up in a small town, not too dissimilar from Newton. And one of the things that we found with this community, and kind of rings true with my upbringing, is the dependability of the folks that we've already had the opportunity to engage with and seek estimates from. So what we're going to do is, this is Shield AI's next iteration aircraft. And so if you had the opportunity to watch the video, and it sounds like many of you did, we started off with a much smaller aircraft. And that aircraft was called the Nova. And the Nova has got battle-proven and real-life impact deployed around the world. And we iterated into a next aircraft called the VBAT. And in similar fashion, the VBAT also carries our artificial intelligence. And we like to say it's in the AI space, it's known as being platform agnostic. So that's just a fancy term for meaning that you can put it on multiple things, whether that be a submarine, a car. It's able to be installed. And so it's safely flown a variety of aircraft. And so with the success of VBAT, especially in Ukraine, in the European theater, and also in Greece, we've made the decision to move into the collaborative combat aircraft space, which we would call a Group 5 aircraft. So it's a much larger aircraft. And that same artificial intelligence is going to be used to pilot that aircraft. Now, the human still remains in the loop during that for safety, but a few months ago, we began a really comprehensive search to find the right spot to ultimately test. And I've said it before, but I'll say it again. Newton was not originally on my list. I was driving all over the state, driving all over the place, having a good time, eating some good food, good barbecue, meeting good folks. And right before I left, our broker reached out and said, "Hey, would you be willing to go up to Newton? We've got a spot for you to take a peek at." And so, with about 20 minutes' notice, I showed up in Newton, and this is how it really all started. When I got there, with about 20 minutes' notice, the master plan and the airport was all laid out, and I got a really comprehensive brief on what the airport was and what might be available. Got to drive all over the property and the countryside. Got to take a look at things, And it just struck me immediately. I thought this has potential to be a good partnership. And so from there, we've just continued building that relationship. And so we look to Newton Airport to be the spot to help unlock and continue to keep the U.S. at the forefront of artificial intelligence, and specifically artificial intelligence on aircraft.
That gives me the chills when you just said that with Newton and keeping the U.S. I can't remember exactly what your words were, but I'm like, wow, Newton, that's incredible. And you've had really great people to work with. You really have.
And these aircraft that this AI is going to fit on is any size. I mean, it could be an F-16 or it could be a drone, right?
Sure. So we've already flown the F-16. The former Secretary of the Air Force was on board for that flight and flew a dogfight profile, which he ultimately won, but not.
So he was sitting in the passenger seat while somebody else was piloting the craft.
He was along for the ride while the artificial intelligence flew.
Yikes.
Oh.
Wow.
And the role that Newton would have initially is for this agreement is the space to test your engines.
Yeah, so and it's more than just that. Just like in any manufacturing process, we're running multiple simultaneous efforts, and so you can imagine it as like a Lego pieces being put together. Newton will help us facilitate that whole package testing to ultimately have the aircraft off the ground and safely.
Wow. It's awesome. Awesome.
We're a lot cooler than we thought we were.
Number of jobs, economic impact, what are we talking here?
Yeah, so initially, like we've talked about in the agreement, we've said 30 to 60 jobs, and we're ready to move forward advertising for those roles and making that a reality.
Build some more houses.
And these are pay between what and what levels of pay are these jobs?
Yeah, I would have to, since we have not fully assessed the area for that, I would abstain from providing that. But what I can tell you, these are very high level, high position roles. If you can, I'll give you some examples. You're talking software developers, engineers, pilots that have heavy jet experience. So these are folks that that enjoy a pretty comfortable life and salary. Yeah.
Wow.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for choosing Newton.
Well, we would say thank you back to you. Yeah, it's been a great partnership so far.
Just excited. Doesn't even describe it. Thank you.
Okay, but are you going to get tired of winning? Thank you for your role.
Yes. And Brian and anybody else that was involved.
I do want to, I appreciate Jacob because he's told this story several times. It was actually Jeff that worked with Jacob, got prepared. The way Jacob says is the first time we met was at the county meeting this morning, so, which is not true, but I was out on business. I wasn't goofing off, but Jeff was the one that was available and kind of set up this whole thing and kind of showed how dynamic we could be quickly. So big shout out to Jeff Lewis, our airport operations manager as well.
Good.
Very nice.
Thank you.
I have it on good authority that one of our senators was just down in Texas, dropped through yesterday. So. Awesome.
So can we do it at the same time?
Yeah, we have an AB, but you can do it in that one motion if you would like to approve the lease agreement and the brokerage agreement. If you want to make that motion, that's acceptable.
Okay, I would make that motion.
I will second that.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Same sign. Motion carries.
Thank
Welcome
you.
to Newton.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, commissioners. Congratulations.
All righty. Next item is Citizens Forum. We didn't have anybody sign up, so with that, we will go around the horn. Mr. Valentine.
Thank you. A lot of exciting news. We're very grateful. Thank you for everyone and the work involved. Thank you.
We had a good session, the four of us, this morning with downtown leaders. Very constructive conversation about what we might want downtown to be. And I appreciate my commissioners for being there and giving good input and being available to those that are trying to make a living on Main Street. Thank you.
Sure.
No, sir.
I would just like to mention that we have our new finance director with us today. Janetta's here, and it's her second day on the job, so we're very happy to.
Oh, welcome.
Is that why we put the third quarter in the consent agenda instead of having her present it? Awesome. Welcome to Newton.
Yeah,
Welcome.
glad to have you.
Sure.
I just want to add that we have some very engaged downtown business owners and managers and participants, and it was a very, we have a community that's very engaged and loves our community and wants to see it get better and keep on winning. So it was a really good discussion this morning.
It was. So I'd just like to say thank you, staff, all your hard work and putting these packages together and keeping us and responding to our questions. So thank you. With that, we are adjourned.